Hey everyone, I was going to post this video a while ago, but I've been pretty busy and had not had the chance. That being said, Dragonstorm has been out a while, and when I heard people reviewing the commanders, I noticed Eshki Dragonclaw was described by a lot of people as below average commander that no one really used. At first glance, I kind of agree with them. I thought they might be right. So what is she? Well, she cost 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, and 1 colorless, a human warrior with vigilance, trample, and ward 1. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you cast both a creature spell and a non-creature spell this turn, draw a card, then put 2+1/+1 counters on Eshki Dragonclaw. And she has 4 power and 4 toughness. I was like, oh man, this art's so awesome, and I like the ability, I think it can work, and I love Temur colors, so you know me. I gotta see if this can work, and I think it can definitely work. I found 2 awesome ways to build her, and I'm sure there's more, and I'd 1000% love to hear them in the comments, but the first one I thought of is adventures. You know, there's only 530 adventure decks on EDHREC, believe it or not, and if you look at the top 5, Eshki is 4th with only 24 decks. Bloon is number 1, and I guess she's a nice commander, but I think there's a lot of work to do to make the deck work for her. And you can also put her in the Eshki deck, which is nice because they're both Temur. Gorion is kind of underwhelming in my opinion and seems boring. I mean, you just copy the spells. Helen the Kid has a cowboy hit on, so I'm not even gonna read what that card does. And Kess, I think might be kind of OP because you can cast instants and sorceries from your graveyard, and then they get exiled. So I guess you can cast them again as the creature part. Not sure. But either way, I like Eshki better than all of them by a wide margin. Well, the great thing about adventure cards with Eshki's ability is essentially, in most cases, you only need 1 card to trigger her ability because adventure cards contain a creature and a non-creature spell both. Some of them can be mana intensive, but I mean, you're in green, Temur, and you're obviously going to include other non-adventure cards in your deck, but I think you can always have options to navigate through your turns to ensure your strategy always plays out smooth. And of course, there are some great adventure cards in Temur, like Balloona Grand Squall. Her creature side is red, blue, and green for a 4/4 legendary giant noble. She has trample, and permanent spells that you cast that have adventure cost 1 less. And the instant Seek Thrills cost 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, 2 colorless, mill 7 cards, then put all adventure cards among the milled into your hand. Not the worst, pretty decent card. Sea Hag. The spell, an instant. Aquatic Ingress for 1 blue and 2 colorless. Up to 2 target creatures can't be blocked this turn. Awesome card to get some damage through. The creature side, kind of not the best for 1 blue and 4 colorless. A Hag, that's the creature type, that when it enters, creatures your opponents control get -4, -0 till the end of turn. So that's a decent effect. And obviously, you're going to include Bone Crusher Giant. You can actually cast both sides of this card for 5 mana. Stomp is an instant for red and 1, deals 2 damage that cannot be prevented. And the creature side costs red and 2 colorless. 4/3 giant that does 2 damage to your opponents when they target it. Embereth Shieldbreaker. I think this is an awesome card. It only costs 3 mana for both sides of it too. And the battle display, the sorcery, 1 red, destroy an artifact. Simple and effective. The creature side, 1 red, 1 colorless, 2/1 human knight. Nothing too great, but hey, it's a chump blocker. Merchant of the Veil. Casting both sides of this card for only 4 mana. The instant, Haggle. 1 red. You may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. And the creature side, 1 red, 2 colorless for a 2/3 human peasant that lets you pay 1 red, 2 colorless to discard a card and draw a card. And the great thing is, you can do this as many times as you want, which is pretty cool. Scalding Viper. Aside from the sick art, you can cast both sides of this card for a total of 4 mana. Sorcery, blue and 1 colorless, Steam Clean. What a great name for a spell. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. Kinda stinks that it's at sorcery speed, but I mean, if you're gonna be casting this the same turn that you cast a creature, I mean, it's not that bad. But you know, it's a good bounce effect. The creature side is 1 red and 1 colorless for a 2/1 Elemental Snake that deals 1 damage to any opponent who casts a spell that costs 3 mana or less. Questing Druid. Now this used to be a powerhouse in Modern, from what I remember, although I don't think it gets played anymore, and that's just the nature of Modern. But anyways, for both sides it costs a spell, it's 4 mana. Seek the Beast. Instant, red and 1 colorless, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until your next end step, you may play those cards. The creature side, green and 1 colorless, Human Druid. When you cast a spell that's white, blue, black, or red, put a +1/+1 counter on it. And you're in Temur, so there's plenty of red and blue spells to go around. And last, but certainly not least, probably my favorite, the Elusive Honor. The spell, Guro's Bounty, a sorcery, green and X, distribute X +1/+1 counters among any number of creatures you control. And the creature, an otter, for 1 blue only, has prowess. And creatures with power less than Elusive Otter can't block it. So hey, those are just some of the few adventure cards you can use. And like I said, when you're using adventure, I mean, it covers per card ability, the casting a non-creature spell, at the beginning of your turn. Basically, the adventure spells, they have both those cards wrapped up into one. So 1 card can technically get you her effect. So the other cool way to build an Eshki deck is going Voltron. She's already an excellent fit. She's not that expensive as far as casting cost goes, and she already has Trample, Ward 1, and draws a card, and puts a counter on herself. That's a lot of good stuff for Voltron, if you ask me. And if you're going to play Voltron, there's 2 things you really need to focus on. The first thing is protection, and Temur definitely has you covered with cards like Slip Out the Back. 1 blue, instant, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, it phases out. Perfect for darn near anything that can remove your commander. We also have Vanishing, an extremely underrated card. It's an aura for 1 blue, and you can pay 2 blue, and the enchanted creature phases out. Gaia's Gift, instant, 1 green, 1 colorless, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It gets reach, trample, hexproof, and indestructible until the end of turn. Wave Goodbye, which can be downright nasty at times. Return each creature without a +1/+1 counter on it to its owner's hand. And hey, this would be great in an adventure deck as it resets any adventure creatures you have out. Shore Up is another good one. An instant for 1 blue, target creature you control gets +1/+1 and hexproof until end of turn. Untap it. And obviously, in blue, you have access to all the best counter spells. And the fun part about Voltron is getting that big dam through. This is a must include. Mandatory. Dragonclaw Strike. Eshki is on this card, and it's a sorcery for red, blue, green, or you can play 2 colorless instead of paying a color. Double the power and toughness of target creature you control until end of turn. Then it fights up to 1 target creature an opponent controls. You want another reason to include this card? When you defeat your opponents, just read them the flavor text. Some had doubted the Whisperer's choice of Eshki for Dragonclaw. None did so after witnessing her in battle. So, more damage. Cards like Hardened Scales. An enchantment, 1 green. If 1 or more counters will be put on a creature, put that many plus another +1/+1 counter. Aqueous Form, 1 blue aura. Enchanted creature can't be blocked. When it attacks, scry 1. Temur, Battle Rage. Instant, 1 red, 1 colorless. Target creature gets double strike until end of turn. It also has Ferocious, which states if the targeted creature has power 4 or greater, it gets trampled. Berserk, the classic. 1 green mana instant. Double creature's power and give it trample until end of turn. If it attacks, destroy it. That's okay, we're in red. Just cast Fling and fling it. Hydra's Growth, 1 green, 2 colorless. Awesome card. And aura. When it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. At the beginning of your upkeep, double the number of +1/+1 counters on enchanted creature. Unleash Fury, simple. Red, 1 colorless. Double the power of target creature until end of turn. And of course, a couple artifacts. Black Blade Reforged, 2 colorless. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Equip 7, or if you equip a legendary creature, equip 3. And we also have Dragonfire Blade from Dragonstorm. It's an artifact equipment that costs 1. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has hexproof from monocolor. Now the equip cost is 4, but it costs 1 less for each color of the creature targets. So for Eshki, it's only 1. Well, there you have it. This is just a small sample size of the cards you can build for these decks. I look forward to making an Eshki deck for my budget deck series, so be on the lookout for that. And hey, thanks for watching, and that's all, folks.